posts, or pillars as they're also called, are the only remaining items from the POW camp that are near the camp. You probably are familiar with the apartments at the corner of 23rd Avenue and 10th Street. Those were actually barracks that were moved and converted into apartments. But these are the only remaining parts of the camp that are here at the site. Prisoners arrived in March of 1944, and the last were left in the early part of 1946. The camp had amenities and an infrastructure of a small city. It was large enough to house 3,000 prisoners, and it also, camp staff included up to 600 American soldiers and officers and 150 to 200 administrative personnel. Prisoners who stayed at this camp were from Germany and Austria. And an interesting story, I believe it's in your booklet, when the prisoners would come, the prisoners who were staying here would line up and they would have their hometown written on like a gum wrapper or something. And they would throw them out so that the prisoners who were just coming would pick them up and they hoped to find somebody from their hometown. Well, a father and son were united that way.
Oh, wow.
One thing I always look at, how we got to where we are today. I mean, I've always tried to figure out how do we get to where we are today. And to me, the best way to figure out how we actually got here and who we are as a community is to know what the history of this area is. And what an awesome history this is of northern Colorado. It's influenced the entire region of northern Colorado. I have stories that relate to me since I've been up here, which is a very short time, but of somebody that went to high school in Fort Collins in the late 40s who volunteered to go work on the sugar beet farms, and because there was shorter labor during World War II, obviously everybody was fighting the war, they used the prisoners here to work sugar beet farms, and then some of the high school kids. Well, the story goes that these POW workers were going 10 times as fast as those high school kids. But it's, to understand a culture, I've always said you have to understand the language and speak the language to really understand the culture of that group. And I think to understand the region of who we are today, we really need to understand what the history is and how we got here. And this is a big part of it.
I would like to thank all of you for being here. I began working for the City of Greeley Museums in 1979, and every summer since that time, for 32 years, there has been someone who would come into the archives from Germany, either someone who was a prisoner of war here at Camp 202, or their descendants looking to trace that history, that personal history. So not only is this site locally important and regionally important, but it also has international importance as well.
Set. These scissors are dull. They're historic.
Yay!